The most dangerous person in any confrontation isn't the strongest or the most brutal. It is the calmest person. Miyamoto Musashi followed Fudoshin, the philosophical concept of an unmovable mind and a still heart. In doing so, he remained calm in every confrontation. Learn these rules before you are broken by those who have learned them first. Create emotional distance. A central principle in Musashi's psychological discipline was the ability to observe emotion without becoming it. He did not say, "I am angry." He said, "I feel anger." That small distinction is large. One statement is identity, the other is observation. Musashi's thinking, influenced by Zen practice, taught that emotions are like weather, temporary, shifting, and passing. Just as clouds pass across the sky without changing the sky itself, so too can emotions pass through a person who remains centered. This emotional distancing allowed him to witness his feelings without reacting blindly to them. Anger, fear, excitement. They were all seen, but not obeyed. He watched, he breathed, he chose. That separation is not repression, it is liberation. In conflict, this ability to observe without fusing with emotion creates a powerful clarity. He was not ice, he was fire in a glass lantern, contained, directed, and luminous. Recognize your emotional signals before they take over. Before anger ever takes your voice, it whispers into your breath. Before panic ever takes your body, it flinches in your heartbeat. Musashi understood that the body signals emotion before the conscious mind is even aware of it. That is where the first battle lies, in noticing the self. By training himself to observe the early warning signs, tight shoulders, rising breath, quickening speech, Musashi could act before the emotion became a storm. He did not wait to be overtaken. He intercepted the wave before it rose. In his legendary duel with Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi deliberately arrived late. His tardiness wasn't arrogance, it was strategy. Kojiro's rage exploded upon seeing Musashi approach calmly by the boat. While Kojiro seethed, Musashi remained emotionally precise. By staying composed, he took control of the battlefield long before the swords were drawn. The battle was already won because one man raged and the other remained aware. Use anger without being used by it. Musashi did not seek to destroy anger, but to discipline it. He understood that strong emotions, especially anger, contain immense energy. But when left undirected, that energy is chaotic. It is blind. It burns. It consumes the one who carries it. Rather than suppress his emotions, Musashi learned to redirect them into focused action. Like an archer drawing back the bow, he took the energy of frustration or rage and funneled it into precision. This echoed in modern performance psychology. Great athletes, negotiators, and leaders often feel emotion intensity, but they do not act from it. They act through it. Musashi's duels were won not by aggression, but by calculated intensity. His ability to take emotional fire and forge it into a steel blade of strategy gave him the upper hand against opponents who fought from impulse. Anger used wisely becomes power. Anger used foolishly becomes defeat. Practice voluntary hardship. At the root of most emotional upheaval is the ego, the fragile self-image that fears insults, craves recognition, and flinches at challenge. Musashi saw ego not as strength, but as weakness disguised as identity. He practiced voluntary hardship, stripping himself of luxury, applause, and the desire to be seen as important. He trained to need nothing from others, not approval, not comfort, and not validation. Why? Because the less you crave, the harder you are to control. He realized that most anger arises when one's image is threatened. But if you no longer identify with the image, there is nothing to threaten. You cannot be baited if there is nothing to defend. To kill the ego is to become invincible, not because no one attacks you, but because their attacks pass through you like the wind through empty robes. Insults become echoes. Praise becomes smoke. Only your aim remains. Embody the immovable mind, Fudoshin. The essence of Musashi's composure lay in Fudoshin, a term meaning immovable mind. It is not rigidity, it is clarity. It is the state of calm observation, grounded in tension, and unshakable resolve. When chaos surrounded him, Musashi remained internally unmoved. His actions shifted like the wind, but his awareness stood like a mountain. Fudoshin is not emotional numbness. It is emotional mastery. It is to be like the eye of the hurricane, still in the center, with the storm moving around you. Musashi did not win his battles because he was the fastest. He won because he was the calmest. While others fought with minds gripped by fear, vengeance, or pride, Musashi moved with the precision of a man who had already decided who he was and what he was there to do. This is the power of an unmoved mind. It commands the sword, the word, and the moment itself. Detach from predictability. Fixation is the death of strategy. Musashi often shifted his fighting style, sometimes wielding 2 swords, sometimes 1, sometimes arriving disheveled or eccentric. His unpredictability was strategy. He understood that once your enemy knows how you will react, you are already under his control. To react with anger when insulted is to become the puppet of your opponent's intention. Calmness, then, is not passivity, it is misdirection. If your enemy expects your rage, offer stillness. If he expects resistance, offer pause. To stay calm in conflict is to remain unreadable. When you are unreadable, you are unconquerable. Study the pattern beneath all conflict. To know one thing is to know 10,000 things. Musashi taught that if you study one thing deeply, you will begin to understand everything. He studied combat, not just to win fights, but to read human behavior. A tremble in your voice reveals fear. A delay before an answer reveals doubt. A confident smile held too long may reveal deception. He trained himself to perceive the structure of conflict, not just its surface. Every confrontation, whether with a sword or a sentence, follows a rhythm. If you know that rhythm, you no longer fight, you conduct. Remaining calm gives you access to this perception. It is impossible to see clearly when blinded by emotion, but with stillness, patterns emerge, and with patterns comes power. Forge calmness in advance. Do not wait for the storm to begin training. You cannot improvise calmness. You must build it deliberately, persistently, daily. Musashi did not wait for the battle to test his temperament. He trained himself through adversity, discomfort, and repetition. He sought tension not to enjoy it, but to study it. Every difficult conversation, every small frustration, every disappointment, they were all parts of the dojo. When insulted, he trained himself not to react. When uncertain, he trained himself to breathe before deciding. Calmness was not a switch to flip. It was a reflex he forged through thousands of confrontations. If you flinch at discomfort, you will collapse under pressure. But if you use daily struggle as training, you will become storm-proof. Learn to choose silence over a reaction. Move only when it matters. The strongest response is often no response at all. Musashi taught that one need not answer every insult, express every thought, or strike at every opening. Before reacting, he would ask, "Does this serve my path?" If the answer was no, he remained still. Calmness means control over motion. In a world that rewards noise, Musashi trained in restraint. He knew that silence is not absence. It is presence held back, power waiting to be used. And when he did act, it was sudden, decisive, and impossible to stop, like a glacier, like the earth itself shifting beneath your feet. True calm is choosing stillness, even when every part of you wants to rush. Nothing can harm you without your permission. The ultimate lesson of Fudoshin is this: what happens to you does not define you. Only your response does. Pain enters not through events, but through the meanings you assign to them. Shame is not in failure. It is interpretation. You are not undone by what others do. You are not undone by how you let it change you. Musashi understood that you may not control the storm, but you can remain unmoved within it. A river cannot sink a ship unless it enters it, and an insult cannot harm you unless you open the door. Hold fast. Let them rage. Let them provoke. Remain still, because in that stillness is the final weapon. In a world ruled by emotional noise, the calm warrior is king. And Musashi's way teaches us this: when chaos rises, do not tremble. Do not chase. Do not answer every call. Instead, smile, because they have already lost.